Bitcoin's rebound after that Jackson Hole comment, short-lived, fizzling a little bit. We got bearish weekly engulfing candle. 105,000 is the line in the sand right now. That's the last stronghold with potential risks towards the lower levels. I'm going to cover it all. Ethereum, we got Ethereum that's just pulled back a little bit, but showing some great resilience. Man, altcoins are lining up for their shot. And let's break it all down for you. Welcome back, Crypto Crew. It's your boy Tom here, bringing you the hottest in Bitcoin and crypto action. If you like what you see, give us a like. Make sure you hit subscribe if you haven't already. And make sure you come on over to X and follow us on X, where we talk about Bitcoin, crypto all day, every day. All right, so let's get right into this. What the heck is going on? I see my fellow compatriots out there posting on X. Who the F is selling? My answer, who the F cares? We just got to prepare for it. That's all. So right now we're going to be talking about this Bitcoin trade was stopped out that we've been holding for quite a long time. We're going to have a new look. I'm going to take you over the WEX, the broker of our choice. Low fees, fast execution. Okay, we got one trade left running. Okay, Bitcoin was stopped out. We show you warts and all. There's going to be a new look, obviously. You got to get into our pro group where we actually have trade setups for you sitting there, shorts and longs. And we're going to have the live stream on Wednesday. I think Justin's doing it, even though he's traveling. So there will be a live stream. You can ask all your questions in that room. All right, so right now what we got to do is we got to just basically kill that. It's gone, right? So we're going to move on over to the short-term 2-hour chart and get right down into the nitty-gritty, man. What's going on over here? All right, so we got Bitcoin right now trading around 109,007 to 110,000, down about 1% intraday after hitting 117,003 on Friday. The Jackson Hole rally, Bitcoin's strongest daily rally return since July 10th, has been quickly erased, sliding back down towards the 108,000 and a half as we sit right now. All right, so right now, if we're looking at the short term, okay, and we're going to get into all this, all right, we got a weekly bearish engulfing candle, okay? The failed push higher leaves behind a technical warning. It leaves behind a technical warning. Now, we're getting prepared for this, okay? So right now, as it stands, short term in Bitcoin, all right, here is the deal. We have this new low right here at 108.6. There is going to be resistance. Right here's right here's a tine of the pitchfork itself, right around 110 and a half. I'm not really concerned with that one. I'm thinking that the main resistance point right now is 111,003. It needs to recover that 111,003 if it's actually going to show strength. So there's the resistance level on the day. Okay, that's just the day. So we got to pay attention to that point, 111,003. I keep saying it because it's an important point. If we cannot recover this 11,003, it's actually showing weakness down to like 107. Now we've dipped down to so far a low of 108,689. The risk is really right now towards the downside of Bitcoin. We got a lot of things happening in Bitcoin right now that are affecting the price action. We got Bitcoin dominance that's down. We're going to get into that. There are rotations happening into Ethereum. That is not helping Bitcoin at the moment. Okay? We also have, the macro news is that really there are some on-chain data that shows all wallet cohorts are in distribution mode, especially those that are holding 10 to 100 Bitcoin. So they flipped to net sellers right around 118K. So that's downward pressure. Now, what's occurring now psychologically, okay, if we just look at psychologically, retail is right now scratching their head wondering what's happening. So therefore, they're going to be looking to sell They're going to be looking to get out at maybe better levels, and they're going to puke if we break 105. So I want to take you over to that weekly chart that I just alluded to. Okay, here's the weekly. All right, we got the bearish engulfing candle there. Now we had our double top, and we said that if we broke 112, wasn't going to be good. It was going to be a cascade lower, and that's exactly what's happening right now. So, if we measured from the break upward to the top, and if we just take the equal distance down, we're looking at support right around 100,000. But the 105,000 is going to be really the line in the sand before all retail pukes. And that's where we're going to be talking about where we should start to really accumulate. Okay, so right now we got in the short term, okay, on the 2-hour chart, I'm showing resistance at say 111,003. Okay, if you wanted to, take a trade there, you could take a trade there. The stop has to be above like 100 and like 12, maybe 113,000, right? But you would see quickly if it does pop and it can't get through this, it's going to slowly drift back down. I think that the target would be right around 107,000, 106, even potentially even the 105. That's just me. Okay, so I'm just giving you some short-term idea. I'm not telling you to follow this. I'm just telling you what is in my mind at this time. So you got to do your own research. You got to trade with your head, not over it. And you got to make sure that you're following your stop loss rules and fits within your parameter. I am not a financial advisor at all. I'm just a trader. So I just want to put that out there. So right now we got the key support, the line in the sand for Bitcoin's about 105,000. If that breaks, realized price data shows little dense support until 100,000. If that goes, we're opening up that CME market gap that we talked about. Let's go over to Bitcoin on the weekly. Okay, we showed this before. Okay, the weekly support sits right at that 97,000. We had the CME market gap a few weeks back at 97,005. I said yesterday, man, if the big wigs, if the big boys, now we're talking about wallet holders over 100 Bitcoin, they're trying to drive, I think that they're trying to drive price down there only to reaccumulate. We're going to talk about that. Okay, so we got the short-term price action. Okay, but don't get lost in the weeds. Bitcoin is definitely going higher. The only way that this structure breaks, and it's really just would be the first warning would be 74,000. Okay, then we could say the total break in structure is really down at 50. So, and believe me, we would be accumulating everything that we could if we got a gift of something like that. And I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just trying to show you prospectively like where we are. So right now we have the first line of defense is at 105,000. Okay, we talked about this was the double top. Okay, now what's going on right now? What we're really going on seasonally is really ETF fatigue. All right. It's something that's called a ghost month. It happens between August 23rd, September 21st. Historically delivers an average of a 21.7% drawdown. That's just what it is. Okay, so spot Bitcoin ETF inflows have slowed, echoing signs of exhaustion. Some analysts, I've been reading some analysts are saying that they're warning the rally looks more like dollar weakness than true organic demand. Now, I kind of agree and disagree with that, but really what we're looking at right here is that, if we look at the double top, the market screams bullish. The chart whispers double top. The last line of defense right now is broken at 112. That's why I'm saying there's probably some resistance up at like a 111.3, 112 right now. Liquidations are flooding the market. Weekends are going to fold. They're definitely going to fold here. And then this is where legends accumulate coin. Okay, so only one side's going to win. And we got to look at the long game. So we got to ask you which side you're on. Now, if you want to take short-term shorts, completely understandable. But don't think that, don't make a small picture trade turn into a large picture trade. That's the most important thing to try to understand. The large picture is Bitcoin much, much higher. Yes, we could get the retrace. Yes, it's where legends are going to accumulate. They're not going to puke. And we're going to guide you through that. So as long as you get into our pro group, we'll hold your hand through this crap. Right now we're in a bit of a morass. There's a lot of stuff happening. Like I just said, we're in the ghost month between August 23rd and September 21st. But we got a test coming here, okay? And if we look at the overall structure of Bitcoin, if we look at gold versus Bitcoin, okay? And this is important because gold broke out of its wedge and went vertical, okay? Bitcoin is coiling in the same setup. Okay, so when it snaps, it's not going to crawl. It's going to just rewrite the cycle. All right, generational wealth is built on moves like this. So, okay, we got the retrace. Yes, and I don't want to sound like Jim Cramer. In any way, do I want to sound like Jim Cramer screaming, sell everything? I'm not saying that. I'm saying short term, you do have an ability to, look for shorts up here. For me, that's me. Okay, really stops. Like I said, it's got to be above like 113.5. Okay, because even if we do crawl back up, there's going to be a lot of chop. Now, it's not even going to be the big boys, because if we crawl back up into here, you could see everybody that basically was holding, they're going to want to get the heck out. So you're going to get the short-term pop back down, potentially down to like, this low, 108, and potentially even 107. And we got that 105 line in the sand. So it's as far as a short-term trade is concerned, you could look for, taking some shorts. But that 105 is very, very important. Now, I don't mean to keep bouncing back and forth, but it's a lot of crap going on in my mind that I'm trying to cover here. But really, if we go back to gold, okay, and we show gold led, is the gold pattern is there. Okay, yes, we could get the dip in Bitcoin. And again, don't let a small picture trade turn into the big picture for you. Understand where we are. Understand that we're in a downward pressure right now. Fine. We know that 105 is a line that we have to hold for the short term. 106, 105. Why I say that? The 106 was the original point, if you remember weeks ago, that gave us the most trouble to get through when we made that 112, I think 2 top. We came back down. We traded lower into the 90, maybe 98,000, 97,000. 106 was acting as a cap. Finally, once it broke through, we made another slight high at 114, then the retrace. So that 106, 105 level is very, very important. But it's really important to understand that Bitcoin is just really following the script. And I want to point you to our X post. And I'm going to show you this X post right here. That's why you got to follow us on X. We can see right here where we posted this. Every cycle dips about the same time. That ghost month. Okay, August 23rd, September 21st. I hate the doldrums of August, man. Even in FOREX, it's always troublesome in FOREX because there's a lot of false breaks and stuff like that. But I did catch a great move in Euro Yen yesterday, by the way. Anyways, but every cycle dips around the same time. Weak hands call it a top. Strong hands know it's a setup. Because what comes after? The biggest, most violent pump of the entire cycle. Really, only legends are going to survive this. Only legends are going to accumulate. And really, only legends are going to score big on it. So, again, get into our pro group. We will guide you through this. We'll help you through it. We're very well aware of the short term versus the long term. And we take both sides of the trading. Okay, so just get in there. All right, so let's move on over to good old Ethereum. Where is good old Ethereum? Here's Ethereum right here. And what we can see with Ethereum is trading right around 4,500. Okay, it dropped 2 to 4% intraday after touching the record high of 4,950 on August 24th. Now, here's where it gets quite interesting. Because if this marketplace was truly in, a sell mode, everything would be moving down. Ethereum is not. Okay, XRP took a hit. We got HBAR holding steady. Also showing signs of life. This is that rotation that we've been talking about and waiting for, but Bitcoin's taking the brunt right now. It's taking the brunt, and like we said, we'll guide you through it. But the 105, very very important level. The 112 up top, the resistance 111.3, 112 resistance. Okay, we could track in between. Let's say like 10. We could check between 100,000 and 110 for a while as this stuff works its way through the marketplace. But on-chain data still places Ethereum in the belief stage of the bull cycle, supported by institutional flows and tremendous amounts of liquidity entering Ethereum. So the takeaway here is Ethereum's structure remains bullish overall, but short-term ETF outflows and Bitcoin weakness are dragging it back a little bit. But Ethereum's channel tells the story. 2017, it ran from bottom to top. 2020, it did the same exact thing. 2025, the setup is identical, only this time the fuel is with ETFs and institutions. Don't forget, BlackRock, State Street, Fidelity, Vanguard, they're all involved in this, okay? And, September's going to come a time where they're going to be pumping Ethereum investments and Bitcoin investments. If you look at IBIT shares, that little secret little indicator we said from BlackRock, they're going to be pumping that to their clients. So that it's not that they're the cavalry, but really they're a big army that could come in and actually give us some support that's actually going to take everything back up. So really, if you look at this, the fuel is with ETFs and institutions. As I said, the next stop is a channel ceiling at 15K. Strong hands are going to ride the wave. Weak hands are still in disbelief, and they're going to fade it. And legends build generational wealth here. So I want to just take you back to our discount levels, okay? Let's just go to our discount levels right here. We said discount area is down at 4,200. We haven't even gotten there right now. It's still holding up. Ethereum is holding up even with ETF outflows right now as far as the summer doldrums are concerned. So really Ethereum is actually tracking global liquidity exactly like Bitcoin does. Now, if you look at the accumulation phase in history, okay, the bull run phase is active, all right? Liquidity curls higher, and Ethereum is going to follow the liquidity. It's not hopium. It's macroeconomics at work. If you ignore this signal, you're going to be buying Ethereum at 7K instead of right around 4,400 right now. So, of course, do your own research. Trade with your head, not over it. Make sure that you can afford something. And don't be nuts and just go, yeah, I'm going to bet the mortgage payment, because we could have a lot of to and fro. And, leverage works both ways. If you over leverage yourself, even a short movement down could get you executed out of a good trade. So always position size correctly for maximum gain, yet protect to the downside so you don't get stopped out too early. All right, it's really, really important. Leverage position sizing is one of the most important things in all of trading itself. Okay, you could be right with the trade, but over leveraged, and the short-term dip could wipe you out. So that's the most important thing to remember. All right, so let's go on over to Bitcoin dominance. We talked about this for quite some time, and we're going to re-bring it back. Bitcoin dominance itself, we had a bearish engulfing candle. We pointed that out. It's sitting right now at 58.34. A different look at Bitcoin dominance. Right here, we had a bearish wedge, fell out of the wedge. We are tracking down. That's also what's adding some heat onto Bitcoin. Okay, so we got to keep that in mind. Now, what we really need to see is Bitcoin to stabilize. And we need to see Ethereum start to rally and Bitcoin hold, say, a range. And then we could start to see altcoins really take off as well. All right. So Bitcoin dominance has dropped from 61.7 to 57.6. Now we're on a slight recovery right now. So it's giving altcoins some breathing room. Now, we could look at regulatory clarity and a possible Fed rate cut as fuel for altcoin season. That's true. We could look at that, but let's just watch Ethereum, because Ethereum is going to be the one that actually shows when altcoins are going to take off. So we got a couple of venture capitalists out there. Tim Draper saying altcoins are, the innovation hub, and investors are rotating in as Bitcoin consolidates at lower levels. Totally agree with that. Totally agree with that. If we look at the total altcoin market, we could look at this. We can see, look, the crypto market cap diagonal. All right. We got stuff that's happening that the structure is clear. The ending diagonal, 5.35 trillion market cap is the ceiling for now. It's the ceiling. Above it comes a cascade, like downward a bit, but legends aren't going to buy this wave. They'll sell into the euphoria. Now we're way ahead of our skis here. Right now we're talking about when it does happen, and again, we'll guide you through it. Once it does happen, we'll be able to say, hey, this is a place that we should exit, okay? But late bulls aren't going to make it out alive, all right? Legends already secured their exit. They're already in. All right, so if we look at the altcoin season itself, we could see that if we look at the 2018 to 2021 setup, and I'm talking about this setup right here, 2018 to 2021, we had a double bottom lock. We had MACD that flipped green. The last cycle, this pattern unleashed a 15x altcoin supercycle. Now, if we're looking at 2022, 2025, right here, we're really seeing something here. This cycle, the rocket's fueled with even more capital behind it. If you're fading this, you're going to be exit liquidity for legends. All right, let's move on over to our little H-bar, and we can show you H-bar itself. H-bar itself is holding tight. Okay, so that's one of the utility coins that we like. It's riding the support line. Now, of course, this is only a 1 hour chart, all right? But right now, it's riding the support line quite nicely. We're expecting H-bar to pick up steam, get above 30, and then, trade between, say, 27 and like 33. But really, what has to hold is that bottom piece right at, like, say, 20 cents. I don't really see it really falling out of bed. Even if it dropped down, I would be personally buying more H-bar. This one is a sleeper. This one's, if you're talking about projects, you got, if you look at the board of directors there, you got Google, you got massive people on the board of Hedra. So if you don't, if you're not really familiar with Hedra, go and research it yourself. We're thinking that this is a great coin to have in your portfolio. This is one that you could be talking about in 10 years. Say, yeah, I bought that at 25 cents and now it's worth $10. Just saying. All right. So really that's Hedra. Let's move over to XRP. The XRP army has been taking a hit, man. XRP right now still holding up. The 280 level, really, really important. Snuck down there for a brief moment, kind of rallied up a little bit, sitting at 290 right now. We've got a Bitcoin alert. Shut that off. Frank will handle that alert. But psychologically, we got to get over 3. Okay, it's got to hold above 3. Now, unfortunately, there is another short-term resistance point at 307 in XRP. So in order to show strength, we got to recover 3. We got to trade between 3 and let's say 307, 310. Then it needs to, if it's going to show complete strength, it needs to get over 315. Hold the line there. And then the all-important point, I gave you these before, is the 343 and the 25-ish right here. Hasn't been able to recover it yet. It has not broken down through the 270. So it's actually consolidating along with Bitcoin and Ethereum itself. So Ethereum's getting ready to explode. XRP is on the back burner right now. Hedra is actually consolidating very nicely as well. It's not falling out of bed. So this is what leads me to believe that although we got short-term selling pressure in Bitcoin, the alts aren't saying that this is going down. So we just got to be cognizant of the Short term, the 112 could get a dip down. And if you get into pro trading group, we will actually cover that for you. All right, where we'll be looking to buy it. All right, so let's just wrap up with this. There's the double top. If we measure the double top with the breakdown, we can potentially get to the 100. We said that before. I went over that. So right now the rebound is fizzled. We got the bearish weekly candle, 105,000, I say, is critical support. If that breaks, we got 100,000 behind it. If 100,000 breaks, we're looking at that 97,500 CME market gap and potentially even lower to 92,000. It would be ugly, all right, but really if you're trading in the short term, yeah, you'd look for that, right? So anyway, so Ethereum right now, we got, after the record highs, we got a pullback. We got a little bit of ETF outflows, but really an incredibly strong institutional base for Ethereum. Altcoins are, rising in momentum as Bitcoin weakens. Season rotation may be starting. So as we wrap up today, crew, we just want to synopsis. Bitcoin's got to hold the 105. It's way down here. Okay, here's the lower end of the pitchfork. That would be the warning break. We're heading down towards that 105 key critical support level before the 100,000. If the 100,000 goes, we're looking at that CME market cap. Like I said, I'm not trying to be Jim Cramer over here. I'm not telling you to go sell all your Bitcoin. I'm saying short term, we got some pressure. Now, if we hold 105 and then we rebound through 110, we got a new scenario coming up in Bitcoin. So again, get into our pro trading group. We'll guide you through this stuff. Right now, short-term resistance, say 111.3, 112. Needs to recover over that to actually show any type of strength. Strength would run to probably like 116 and then, pop back down. We got a lot of sellers here right now that we got to get through, okay? Aside from nobody's coming to save us, right? So we just gotta work the chart and save ourselves. All right. So Ethereum remains structurally stronger than Bitcoin at this point. It's it faces some ETF pressure. Maybe we will, with that pressure, get down to a discount area. That would be a point that you really want to look to buy some Ethereum. Again, trade with your head, not over it. And make sure you consult with us, and we'll tell you whether or not the pressure is over or not. Selling pressure is selling pressure. Altcoins, they're gaining momentum. As investors diversify a little bit away from Bitcoin, they're getting into some good utility coins. All right, so before we wrap up, crew, I'm going to make sure that you're well aware of our trading community. You click this link right here, you'll be taken over to this Telegram site. This is actually where you could copy trades, and you can get into the exclusive trading room where we talk about setups. We help you out in this room. We really help you out in this room. If you want to follow us on our broker of choice, all right, you come on over here, you click this link, you'll be taken over to FOREX, the broker of our choice, low fees, fast execution. Everything you can want in a broker is right here. All right, so what do you got to do? Well, you definitely got to follow us on X, where we talk about Bitcoin, crypto all day, every day. We do deep dives here. Also, you got to trade with your head, not over it. You got to do your own research. We are not financial advisors, okay? Next thing you got to do, you got to get into the pro group, man. You got to get in on a live stream tomorrow, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We go over some really good stuff in that live stream. And also we go over some great stuff in the pro group. And also, what do you have to do as a short-term trader? Say it with me. You got to enjoy the party, but dance near the door. I'll see you tomorrow. Cheers.